away from their 5 minutes if you really want to get all these facts out. Ms. Hirono.
Mr. Chairman, thank you all for testifying. And I recognize how important this issue is because, of course, there was a time when we had a lot of focus on the attacks on the Asian American, Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiian community, especially during COVID. So the safety of especially our minority community members is always an issue in this country. And we have not, in my view, done a particularly good job of making sure that people are safe. I do have a question for Mr. Racklin. Now, I mean, we have an administration that is totally obsessed with DEI. To the point where they want they've put out the word that any reference to diversity, equity, and inclusion should be wiped out of all of the websites of our administration, including to agencies that get federal money. So I will give you an example of how ridiculous all of this is in my view. I met with a group of people from the Department of Agriculture in Hawaii, and that they had to remove reference to diverse crops. And now you know that equity is also involved in things like equity in your house. So this, what I would call the obsession with DEI has been very weaponized. Mr. Racklin, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which is a longstanding law, prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. We already have a law. We already have a law that prohibits discriminatory hiring, for example, and also in employment, et cetera. We already have that. So what I don't get is why there's all this anti-DEI fervor that I think adds to the kind of discrimination and divisiveness in our country.
So
Do
first,
you have any thoughts about what's happening with DEI and how it's not helping
first,
in addressing discrimination in our country?
First, thank you, and thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. But I would say this regarding to DEI and what exactly you said about Title VII is one, we have laws on the books. The ability to attack DEI initiatives and the continuous obsession with them does nothing but create division within our society. If the administration was truly interested in actually addressing this, they would look for ways to actually bring different populations together and different communities together rather than labeling things as diversity, equity, inclusion, and trying to divide them apart. It's a very strange obsession that I've noticed over the last several months, actually.
I think that it's definitely become weaponized as far as I'm concerned. And the DEI is blamed for everything by people who obviously have not faced the kind of discrimination that truly should be illegal. And it already is, frankly. I have to share with you one other instance during the horrific incident with the plane crashing into the Potomac. And the president says, oh, it's only common sense that we should blame DEI. I found that astounding because he drew the conclusion that somehow people of color, women and people of color, has something to do with this crash. And I can tell you, I was so appalled by his comment that I said there is absolutely nothing common sense about it, that his reference that DEI should be blamed in that instance and in just about every other instance that he can think of. I said this is just sexist, racist, and I basically used the term BS, but I won't say that here, but you get my meaning. Okay, for Ms. Solomon. During our last hate crimes hearing, we discussed the value of civic education and heard a call for universities to develop courses focused on engaging in difficult conversations. And universities are supposed to be the heart of civil discourse. And I have long supported civics education in our schools. We certainly could do more. Ms. Solomon, do you think schools and universities are doing enough education on civil discourse?
Thank you so much, Senator Hirono, for the question. I do think some universities, like my own university, Tufts University, is doing a remarkable job of educating its students about their civic duties in this country and beyond. But I do think there's always ways that we can do more. This past year, Tufts University established an educational initiative for its freshman orientation in which they included anti-Semitism education as well as education around Islamophobia. I think that this is a model for other colleges and universities to adapt to their own campuses in order to stem the tide of hate crimes across this country.
One would think that the university setting is especially appropriate as a place where different ideas can be contemplated and debated. And as a person who, basically I matriculated during the Vietnam War. I was at the University of Hawaii where I protested, and it is one of the activities that awaken my sense of civic responsibility. Thank you very much to all of you.
Senator Schmidt.